You're alone again. Not because nobody reached out, but because you didn't let anyone in. The table is set, but there's only one plate. The phone rings, you see the name on the screen, and you hang up. I'm fine, you text back later, but you're not. You carry heavy bags alone, solve problems alone, cry alone, and when someone offers help, you smile and say, I don't need it, but you do. You learned that being strong means not asking for anything, that crying is weakness, that needing someone is dangerous, and now you're so strong, nobody sees you anymore. Do you remember when you learned this? Maybe it was when you cried and they called you dramatic. Maybe when you asked for help and they abandoned you. Maybe when you trusted and they betrayed you. So you swore, never again will you be vulnerable. Never again will you need anyone. And you built walls so high you forgot how to tear them down. Now you look around and realize you're alone, not by accident, but by unconscious decision. The armor that protected you also isolated you. And you wonder, why doesn't anyone stay? But the real question is different. Why do you never let anyone get close enough to stay? What you're feeling has a name. Brené Brown, one of the world's leading vulnerability researchers, spent decades studying this, and she discovered something devastating. The emotional armor you wear to protect yourself is exactly what's keeping you alone. You're not alone because you're hard to love. You're alone because you've become hard to reach. Every time someone tries to get close, you pull back. Not because you don't want connection, but because connection requires vulnerability. And vulnerability, for you, became synonymous with pain. So you learned to be self-sufficient, to need no one, to carry everything alone. And this wasn't a choice, it was survival. As a child, maybe you asked for help and nobody came, or they came, but they hurt you, or judged you, or used your weakness against you. And there, in that moment, your mind made a fatal association. Vulnerability equals danger, needing equals rejection, showing fragility equals abandonment. So you decided never to be that person again. The person who cries, the person who asks, the person who needs, and you built a fortress around your heart. But fortresses have a problem. They keep enemies out, but they also keep love away. Brené Brown says something that cuts like a blade. We cannot selectively numb emotions. When we block pain, we also block joy. When we reject vulnerability, we reject connection. You think you're protecting yourself, but actually, you're isolating yourself. Every false, I'm fine, pushes someone away. Every, I don't need help, builds another brick in the wall. Every fake smile when you're bleeding inside makes you more invisible. And worst of all, you started believing your own mask, started thinking you really don't need anyone, that it's better this way. That loneliness is safer than disappointment, but it's not. The loneliness you feel now hurts more than any rejection you tried to avoid, because rejection hurts once, but chronic loneliness hurts every single day. And you're not crazy. You're not cold. You're not too complicated. You're someone who learned that love hurts and decided never again to give anyone the power to wound you. But in doing so, you also took away everyone's chance to truly love you. Because real love doesn't happen between masks. It happens between naked souls. And you've been wearing full armor for so long you forgot how to undress. Now you understand. Your loneliness isn't punishment. It's consequence. Consequence of a decision you made to protect yourself. And that now imprisons you. But this didn't start now. You didn't wake up one day and decide to be this way. This was built layer by layer, wound by wound, and you didn't even notice. It all started when you were little. Maybe you saw someone you loved emotionally crumble, and nobody did anything. So you learned. Emotions are dangerous. Showing you're broken is useless. Or maybe you cried for help and they ignored you, told you to stop being dramatic, to be strong, to not be weak. And there, without realizing it, you internalized a deadly lie, that needing someone is shameful, that vulnerability is weakness, that you only deserve love if you're not a burden. So you became the child who never asked for anything, the teenager who solved everything alone, the adult who carries the world on her shoulders and smiles saying, everything's fine, but it's not, and the pattern repeats. You attract emotionally distant people, not by bad luck, but because emotionally available people scare you, because real intimacy requires you to take off the mask, and you don't know who you are without it anymore. So you choose people who won't demand much from you emotionally, who won't ask, "What do you really feel?" Who accept your edited version, your fake smile, your facade of strength. And when someone tries to truly enter, you create distance, make excuses, build conflicts, sabotage before they sabotage you, because your unconscious has a deep-rooted belief: if I show who I really am, they'll abandon me. If I ask for help, they'll disappoint me. If I need someone, I'll get hurt. So it's safer not to need. Safer to stay alone. To feel. But here's the truth. Nobody told you. You don't repeat this pattern because you want to. You repeat it because it's the only one you know. Your brain is programmed to avoid vulnerability at all costs, even if the cost is eternal loneliness, even if the cost is never being truly seen, even if the cost is living hungry for connection but terrified to feed yourself. And the cycle continues. You close yourself off. People give up trying to get in. You feel abandoned. And this confirms your belief. See, I knew I couldn't trust anyone, but you weren't abandoned. You were unreachable, and there's a brutal difference between the two. Abandonment is when someone leaves. Unreachability is when you never let anyone arrive. You've built an invisible pattern of emotional self-sabotage, and it works perfectly. It keeps you safe from the pain of rejection, but it also keeps you far from the possibility of real love. Do you see it now? This didn't start with you, but it's ending in you, because you're no longer that helpless child. You're a woman who can choose differently, but for that, you need to see the pattern, and you just saw it. If you made it this far, it's because something in this video touched you deeply. It wasn't a coincidence that you found this message today. Maybe it's time to stop carrying everything alone and start understanding what's really happening inside you. Subscribe to this channel right now, because here you'll find the answers your soul is seeking. Every video is a key that can open doors you didn't even know were locked. Now comes the part that hurts the most, because you're going to understand the real price you're paying for this armor. The loneliness you feel isn't just the absence of people around you. It's the feeling of being invisible even when you're in the middle of a crowd. It's smiling at parties while your heart screams inside. It's having 1,000 contacts on your phone, but no one to call at 3 in the morning. You've gotten used to functioning on autopilot. You wake up, work, solve problems, help everyone, go to sleep. And in the middle of all that, you disappeared. Nobody asks how you really are because you never let it show. You became the strong person, the one who can handle everything, the one who never breaks. And now you're trapped in this character you created to survive. The emptiness you feel isn't laziness. It's not lack of purpose. It's hunger for real connection. It's your soul begging to be seen, touched, embraced without having to ask. But you don't know how to do that anymore. You don't know how to let your guard down without feeling like you'll shatter. So you choose emptiness, because emptiness is predictable. Emptiness doesn't betray. Emptiness doesn't disappoint. Emptiness won't suddenly leave you in pieces, and you'd rather feel nothing than risk feeling too much and getting hurt again. But there's a cost to this. You're exhausted, not just physically. You're emotionally drained from pretending you're okay, from carrying alone the weight that should be shared, from smiling when you want to scream, from saying, "I don't need it," when you're dying to need it. And the worst part, you started believing you don't deserve help. That asking is weakness. That needing is a character flaw. So you abandon yourself every day. You ignore your own needs. You treat yourself like you're the last priority in your own life. Loneliness became your identity. You don't remember anymore what it's like to be vulnerable without feeling shame. You don't remember what it's like to ask for help without feeling guilt. You don't remember what it's like to cry in someone's arms and not be judged for it. This is where it hurts, but this is also where it gets clearer. Because you can't change what you don't see. And now you're seeing it. You're seeing that the fortress that protected you became the prison that imprisons you. And every prison has a key. You just need the courage to use it. Now you need to understand something fundamental. Healing doesn't mean becoming weak. Healing means becoming real. And being real requires 2 practical actions that will completely change how you relate to the world and to yourself. The first action is accepting that vulnerability isn't the opposite of strength. It's the essence of it. Brené Brown discovered that the most courageous people she studied had one thing in common. They had the courage to be imperfect. They showed their wounds, asked for help, cried when they needed to. And this didn't make them weak, it made them human. It made them accessible. It made them capable of receiving real love. So the first practical action is this. Start small. Choose one person you trust and tell one truth you would normally hide. I'm tired. I need help. I'm not okay. It doesn't need to be dramatic. It doesn't need to be a deep confession. Just be honest about something you would normally lie about by saying, everything's fine. It's going to be uncomfortable. Your body will resist. Your mind will scream that this is dangerous, but do it anyway. Because every time you show a real piece of yourself and aren't rejected, you reprogram your brain. You teach your mind that vulnerability isn't death. It's life. It's connection. It's belonging. The second practical action is to stop punishing yourself for needing. Psychology calls this self-compassion. Treating yourself with the same kindness you would treat a dear friend. When you're struggling, instead of cursing yourself for being weak or dramatic, ask, what would I say to someone I love in this situation? And then say that to yourself. This isn't selfishness. This isn't weakness. This is emotional survival. Because you can't give what you don't have. You can't love others deeply if you're empty inside. You can't be strong for everyone if you're never kind to yourself. The compassion you give so freely to others needs to start with you. Practice every day. Look in the mirror and say out loud, I deserve care. I deserve help. I deserve to be loved even when I'm not perfect. At first, it will feel like a lie. It will feel strange. But keep going, because words shape beliefs, and beliefs shape reality. These two actions, intentional vulnerability and radical self-compassion, are the beginning of your liberation. It won't happen overnight. You'll stumble, you'll pull back, you'll have days when you'll want to return to the armor. But every small step counts. Every time you choose to be real instead of being strong, you're tearing down the prison. And one day you'll wake up and realize you're not alone anymore, because you finally allowed someone to get close. Hey, if you got distracted, come back here with me right now and pay attention to this. Because this is the most important part of everything you're going to hear today. Now, I need to tell you something that maybe nobody has ever told you. God never asked you to be strong all the time. He never asked you to carry everything alone. He never asked you to pretend you're okay when you're broken. Actually, He's waiting for you to stop pretending. Because only when you stop pretending can you hear what He's been trying to tell you for so long. The Bible says something powerful in Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Do you know what that means? It means you don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be invincible. You don't need to control everything. God is saying, daughter, you can rest. You can trust. You can stop fighting alone. And there's more. Psalm 34:18 says, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Brokenhearted, not strong, not perfect, not with everything figured out. Brokenhearted. God doesn't draw near to your strength. He draws near to your weakness. He doesn't want your mask. He wants your real heart, wounded, vulnerable. Because you're trying to do alone what God wants to do with you. You're carrying alone the weight He wants to carry for you. You're fighting alone the battle He already won for you. And while you insist on being strong, He's right there, waiting for you to surrender. Surrender isn't giving up. Surrender is trust. It's saying, God, I can't take it anymore. I can't keep pretending. I'm tired of carrying this alone. I need you. And when you do that, something shifts. Not in the world around you, but inside you. A peace you can't explain begins to touch the most painful place. The loneliness you feel isn't divine abandonment. It's an invitation. God is inviting you to an intimacy you've never experienced before. He's showing you that you don't need to prove anything to be loved. You don't need to be perfect to be chosen. You don't need to have everything figured out to be worthy. You already are. You always were. And here's the most beautiful promise. God isn't asking you to stop being strong forever. He's asking you to be strong in Him, not alone. To learn the difference between human strength, which breaks, which exhausts, which isolates, and spiritual strength, which restores, which sustains, which connects. One leaves you alone, the other brings you into communion. Faith isn't about having answers. It's about having hope. Hope that you're not alone on this journey. Hope that the pain you feel today is shaping the woman you'll be tomorrow. Hope that God doesn't waste suffering. He transforms it into purpose, and when you surrender your loneliness to Him, He doesn't take the pain away all at once, but He enters the pain with you. And not being alone in the pain already changes everything. You made it this far, and that already says a lot about you. It says you didn't give up, even when everything screamed for you to give up. It says you're willing to see the truth, even when the truth hurts. It says there's a part of you that still believes it's possible to change, and that part is right. The loneliness you feel won't disappear overnight, but it will transform. It will stop being a prison and become a portal. Portal to self-knowledge, portal to true faith, portal to real connections. Because now you know the difference between being alone and feeling alone. And you know that the second is an unconscious choice you can start undoing today. You learned that your emotional armor protected you, but also imprisoned you. You learned that strength without vulnerability is disguised isolation. You learned that asking for help isn't weakness, it's courage. You learned that God never asked you to be invincible. He invited you to be real, and being real is the only way to be truly loved. Now you have practical tools, intentional vulnerability, showing real pieces of yourself, starting small, reprogramming your brain to understand that connection isn't danger, radical self-compassion, treating yourself with the same kindness you treat others, stopping punishing yourself for needing, recognizing you deserve care. These aren't theories, they're actions. And actions change destinies. And there's faith. Faith that reminds you that you're not alone, even when everyone abandons you. Faith that whispers that God is close to the brokenhearted, not the perfect. Faith that promises everything has purpose, even the pain you don't understand. Faith that gives you hope that the woman you're becoming is stronger, more real, more free than the woman you pretended to be. You won't wake up tomorrow completely healed. There will be days you'll want to return to the armor. There will be moments you'll feel afraid to open up. There will be people who won't understand your journey. But it doesn't matter, because you're not doing this to please anyone. You're doing this to free yourself, to truly live, to love and be truly loved. The loneliness that suffocated you is losing power over you, because you understood it's not about having more people around. It's about allowing the right people to get close. It's about lowering the walls. It's about having the courage to say, I need you, and not dying of shame for it. It's about trusting you won't shatter if someone sees you vulnerable. And even if you shatter, there's someone to help you pick up the pieces. I can change my destiny. That's the final truth. You're not condemned to be alone forever. You're not trapped in the pattern you learned in childhood. You're not a hostage to the fear that protected you. You are a conscious, courageous woman, loved by God. And starting today, you choose differently. You choose to be seen, you choose to be real, you choose to open up, you choose to trust, and you choose never again to carry alone what was meant to be shared. If this message made sense to you, subscribe to our channel right now, because here you won't find empty advice or pretty phrases that change nothing. Here you'll find truths that cut deep, that touch the soul, that transform from the inside out. Every video is a healing tool, a key to liberation, a path for you to finally reconcile with who you really are. For you who made it to the end of this video, leave in the comments, I choose to be seen. And God will honor your courage. He will start bringing into your life the right people, the true connections, the love you deserve. Your vulnerability won't be wasted. It will be the portal to the life you always wanted, but were afraid to live.